Game briefly and talking to the players yesterday, I said, why do you think we lost? Asked the older guys, and in every case they said, Coach, we didn't have the same passion to start the game we did against South Carolina and Miami, and I thought that was true. So I was glad that they realized that. And that's our job as coaches and their job as players to create an edge every week and make sure that they're passionate about it and ready to go. On the other hand, they played really hard. So there is a separation of passion and energy as compared to trying hard. So there was never a time where they didn't try hard at the game. And then obviously it was a different second half. They came out with more energy and came out with a focus and understood that we dug ourselves a deep hole against a good team and needed to work our way out of it. So Wake was more ready to play to start the game than we were, and that's just part of the learning curve that we've got to get through right now. You play South Carolina, you play Miami, you play Wake. All three teams are very good, and you've got to play hard every week for us to have a chance to win. And this week will be no different. I also told the guys that you watch the video of these guys, they're not going to be the same team that you see. Wake Forest played much better against us than they did with Utah State and Rice, and that's the way it's going to be this weekend with Appalachian State. So just understand that. Third downs on offense have been atrocious because we're not putting ourselves in a position to make them. It's first and second down that causes third down to be so hard. So we've got to do a better job on first and second downs to have manageable third down situations so we can make them. Opposite of that, we're doing really well on third downs on defense. We're getting off the field, and our defense had 9 stops without them scoring in a row. So defense also kept them from a 3rd and 1 and a 4th and 1. They would have put us down 28-0 with a 4th and 1. So defense gave us a chance to win the game. And then on the last drive for Wake Forest, there's 6 minutes and something left. We've got 3 timeouts. If the defense steps up and stops them there, then we have a great chance to win the game. But they went the length of the field. They took away our 3 timeouts and then put us in a position where they kicked the field goal. So give Wake Forest credit for they made the play, the last play of the game instead of us. The 1 second left on the clock, the conference office addressed it. Should have had one more shot at the end zone, and we didn't, but it is what it is. So congratulations to Wake Forest. And the other thing that we have done pretty well, we've taken care of the ball, but we have not taken the ball away much. We haven't recovered a fumble yet this year, which is unacceptable. We have 3 interceptions. So we're -2 and +3, so we're +1 for the year on turnovers. But we've got to do a better job than that to keep winning. Start looking at App State. Look at what their seniors have accomplished the last few years. It's the best in our state. And App State's good enough they could be in the ACC. They're that talented. You start looking at 2018, they were 11-2. 2017, they were 9-4. That was their bad year. 2016, they were 10-3. 2015, they were 11-3. And when Coach Woods was there, who's working for us now, he did a great job and went to South Carolina. Jerry Moore won 3 national championships while he was there. Scott Satterfield did such a tremendous job that he had 3 of those those last 4 seasons. And Eli Drinkwitz is coming in now at 2-0 with a week off and fresh and excited about coming in here. And this will be the second time that we've ever played Appalachian State. So what I told the guys is you play South Carolina, Miami, Wake. Now you've got App State, who will have a lot of energy on Saturday. And then you've got Clemson in your first 5. And that's probably as tough a schedule as anybody's got across the country. That's why we got guys banged up and tired, but they've still got to play. You are who you are on Saturday, and we've done a tremendous job in fourth quarters. We've got to do a better job of being more consistent, especially offensively during the game. Questions?
What you alluded to about last week, approaching the game, how much as a staff is it difficult to fight against human nature? So I think a lot of that probably was, but also get them to grow to maybe where some of your Texas teams were, where they learn how to put those games behind them and move to the next one.
You've got to learn that, but you also need depth. At Texas, we had depth. And when you don't have depth, you get injuries. When you have injuries, you've got younger guys playing that aren't as ready, not as mature, and they don't understand that as much. But I think the biggest thing is, as coaches and as players, we all have to grow together and understand that we're not good enough to beat anybody unless we play with passion. That's what we got to do. We had a chance to come back, but at this stage in our program, we can't roll it out there against anybody, and that's hard. Frank Broyles told me a long time ago that you better be better than 7 teams on your schedule to have a good year. That's when we were playing 11, because he said you're probably only going to play with great emotion in 4 of those 11. Now, fans can't possibly understand that. I don't understand it, but I get it, because these kids get tired and they got a lot of things going on in their lives. But the best teams have to play every week, and that's what we've got to learn to do.
As a result, do you like how they responded to kind of recognizing what happened and working toward fixing that a little bit?
Absolutely. I thought the passion and the effort they played with the second half was unbelievable, because most people can't flip it. And they flipped it and pretty much dominated the second half. I mean, they did a great job. Just put ourselves in a hole we couldn't come back from. And Sunday's meeting was really, really good. There was no finger pointing, and there was no, you should have done this and you should have done that. And the offense couldn't score early, and it was all about, Coach, we tried. We didn't have the same spirit that we had in the first 2 games. What else?
Mack, not that clearly you never want to lose, but is this experience, do you foresee it being very beneficial for this team to have this learning experience together?
I do, and I don't want to take anything away from Wake Forest. They played with passion. They played hard and won the game. But on the other side, I think we'll see this weekend how much we learned from last weekend. Appalachian State's got really good players. They're going to come in with high energy. I think even Corey Sutton, their great receiver, is probably going to play this weekend, and he hadn't yet. And he caught 10 touchdown passes last year, and he's 6'3", 200. And gosh, we let Surratt kill us last week. I think they targeted him 9 times in the first half. They hit 7 for 157 yards and broke a school record, and we were trying to be all over him. So glad we paid him attention. But I think that's the thing we'll find out this weekend. We need our fans to come with the same energy, even though it'll be hot on a Saturday afternoon, that they did for Miami. Our fans and our students need to be a huge difference in this ball game for us and pick this team back up. And our team and coaches have to come out and do a better job than we did last week.
Man, what did you find out were the reasons for you all getting in 3rd and long situations?
We're just not doing well on first downs. And even a couple of times, Jonathan, we were 2nd and 5, and then we get a sack. We're having way too many sacks. We had 6 sacks Friday night. And I've told our coaches, that's on coaching. That's on coaching. If your guy is not good enough to block their guy, then you got to get him some help, or you got to do something different for your quarterback. But we can't just sit there and be sacked and say, oh, that's too bad. We've got to fix those things. But that's what's happening.
Why was Appalachian State? What made that the choice for your first job?
Oh, gosh, I wanted to be a head coach so badly, and Steve Sloan and Bill Battle were 2 of my idols and mentors at that time, and they were both very, very young head coaches. I loved the mountains of North Carolina, growing up in Middle Tennessee on lakes, and I just fell in love with Appalachian State. I actually interviewed at East Tennessee State, and then Jim Garner, who was the athletics director at that time, drove across the mountain to pick me up. And I stood out on the street corner while Jim picked me up. He drove me to Boone, and I couldn't believe when I pulled into Boone, it was night. And those mountains were so high, and I'd never seen mountains that high, and the lights and the houses were way up there. And I kept asking Jim, what is that? He said, that's a house. They're that far up in the mountains. And then when I was coaching there, Mr. Morton, Hugh Morton, who was a mountain of a man, basically owned Grandfather Mountain, and he's a photographer, and he's an entrepreneur for the state. He was one of my best friends, and he invited the media of the ACC up every year to play golf for a couple of days up in the mountains of North Carolina. So I was standing on his porch, and there's a 40-acre trout lake there, and I was making $38,500 as a head coach at Appalachian State and hadn't won a game. And I told Mr. Martin, I'll make some money. I'm going to live on this lake. And we've lived on the lake now for, 22 years, I think. and just love it up there. The last 5 years, we spent a little less than 6 months in the mountains of North Carolina. So I love Appalachian State. I love Boone. It's a place I go every chance I get, and fell in love with the place and the people in the mountains of North Carolina.
Back then, did you ever foresee that program becoming what it is today?
Do you know, I didn't, because I was in my early 30s, I think, maybe 32 or maybe less than that. I think I came here at 35, so it might have been in my late 20s. And when I got there, we didn't have dealer cars. We were driving state cars. We had to check out. We had to teach class. They only allowed you to take 33 out-of-state players because it was too expensive with an out-of-state scholarship compared to an in-state scholarship. I think our equipment manager was a student. Our trainer was a student or really, really young. I think I was the SID when we got there, because I remember trying to put things together to have a media guide. But to see what that program has turned into is just really, really rewarding for me. I used to tell Jerry Moore, who's a dear friend of mine, when he won the 3 national championships, I said, I started that. I'm really the reason you won them. It was just 20 years later or 15, whatever it was, that mine and Sparky's coaching finally kicked in. So, but I'm really, really proud of them. It'll be a very difficult game for us this weekend.
How do you think Sam Howell performed in the first half? And do you think he was kind of, I don't know, nervous on some passes and not really letting it go on some openings myself?
I think, Ross, we played very poorly offensively the first half, period. And when you play that poorly as a group, it all goes back to the quarterback because everybody sees him. But we didn't help him. And the reason we changed and took him out is it wasn't working. Jace needed to get some time anyway. He came in and got us off the goal line and probably saved us from being backed up and being in trouble. And we also thought it would give our other freshman quarterback a chance to go over there and stand and watch and see what's happening out there, because the game was going faster than we were. And then he played much better the second half.
How did Sam respond to the change putting Jason?
Sam was great. He and Jace have been really, really good friends. And in fact, I think I heard one of them say to the other one, I wasn't doing well, so Jace should have gone in. He did great when he got in there. And we need to get Jace more snaps. We've tried, and our games have all come down to the last play of the game, so it's been hard to substitute in many areas.
Do you foresee using him more to just kind of get a spark in the run game, or just kind of?
We might. We'd like to, for sure. I would. Coach Longo and I have been talking about it. I'd like to play him every game, and that's important for us to make sure that we establish 2 quarterbacks. And I think everybody in the country now, you're seeing guys go down every week, so it can happen. So you've just got to be prepared.
A true freshman quarterback, along with the team, pulling themselves out of the way they played the first half, but Sam pulled himself out too and had another strong fourth quarter. Does that, when you kind of think long term, does that portend to something special about him, that once he gets a few other things figured out, that those fourth quarters will become first quarters and second quarters and so on?
Yes, we've got to do a better job of helping him not have the pressure he's had on him, because he's taken too many hits, number one. Secondly, I've been amazed at his maturity and his confidence, because very few could have pulled out of what that first half was like and not be frustrated at his age and his lack of experience, and played as well as he did the second half. And we're, let's see, Jeremy gave me some stats. We're 18th in the country on plays over 20 yards. So we missed a couple of deep ones the other night, but he's got a tremendous touch on the deep ball, and that's been helping us a lot.
You mentioned the success App has had and how talented that team is. What kind of specifically about their game plan do you expect to see on Saturday when the rest of the game?
I would think that they were able to beat Charlotte and East Tennessee easily, and they've got Corey Sutton coming back. They've got 2 weeks to prepare, just like Miami did, and Rice had an extra day, Wake had an extra day after their Rice game to prepare. So I think we'll see all kinds of things. They're going to pull out all tricks, and obviously their conference helped them by giving them a week off before us. We'll see the energy like we saw out of Wake on Friday night, And I think we'll also see stuff that they haven't shown before.
You all mentioned some injuries, some key players. How are you all managing that this week?
We've got to figure that out, Jonathan. With injuries, we've just got to see who can practice and see who's sore and can't practice on Tuesday as compared to how well they'll be by game time. And we're just going to have to start playing other players. We're just going to play young guys like we left Carl Tucker at home. I thought Jason was going to play till pregame, and he didn't. So I've challenged our trainers to make sure they test him here before we get on the bus and go, because everybody thought he was going to play. I think he thought he was going to play, and then he couldn't when he got out there. So there's been way too much talk about injuries in this program the last 2 years. I've told the guys I don't want to hear it. It's an excuse. It's a valid excuse, but we're not going to use it as an excuse, because it gives players and coaches an opportunity to blame losses on something else other than just we should have won the game, and that's not where we're going.
I believe Josh Azudu played 44 snaps. How did he grade out?
Who?
Josh Azudu.
Azudu, he did real well. That's what we're going to have to start playing. We're going to have to start playing Awesome Richards and Tristan Miller and Ty Murray and all those guys. But he did pretty good especially for his first time out there.
How much of an effect does not having Jason Sturbridge in the lineup, how does that affect the defensive line and just things that we might not even notice?
He's probably our best player, and he's definitely our best pass rusher. So, and he's a senior and a leader. So, you'd rather him be out there. We did not get much pressure on the passer. They did a good job with Fox of making sure that they had guys around him where he had trouble getting there. So, we didn't get the pressure on the passer we needed last week. What else?
You guys good? I got one question. You're close with Eric Church. He's an Appalachian State alum, but obviously a huge UNC fan, basketball and football. Your thoughts on that, and where his allegiance might lie come Saturday at 3:30?
Eric sent me a really nice text on Friday night. It had to be during his concert or right before or right after. I wasn't sure. I'll have to go back and check the timing. I haven't been able to answer it yet. But he's a dear friend. He loves both places, and he assured me that he will not be at the game this weekend. He said, I will work hard to find some place to be that I'm going to be working, because it would be unfair, because he's very passionate about both places.
How'd that relationship come to be?
We have a charity with Matthew McConaughey and a country singer, Jack Ingram, Texas country singer, Mack, Jack, and McConaughey in Austin. And we invite the best entertainers across the country, and we invited Eric, and he was gracious enough to come and help us raise money. And I loved his music, but I didn't know he was from Granite Falls. I didn't know he went to Appalachian. I didn't know we have a house near him up in the mountains. So the last 5 years, he and I have played a lot of golf and had a lot of fun. So it's just been fun to get to know him. And when he came to the concert, the first thing he said is, "Why'd you leave?" I said, "Where?" He said, "North Carolina. I'm a huge fan, and you just left." And I said, "Where are you from? What's this about?" And we've hit it off. He's a tremendous sports fan. He loves our football and basketball teams, and he's passionate about Appalachian, because that's what he grew up with as well. So those are definitely his two favorite teams.